Good day and welcome to this video learning resource which focuses on curating, creating, and using open educational resources or OERs. This video may be useful to accreditors, administrators, teachers, and even students who are interested in technology-mediated and flexible teaching and learning. This video will provide you an overview of what open educational resources are and provide you with the basic competencies on searching, using, curating, creating, and sharing OERs. At the end of this video, you should be able to first, distinguish between OERs and other resources. Second, search, evaluate, and use OERs. And third, create, adapt, and share OERs. Are you ready? Let's dig deeper into these concepts and find out how we can maximize the various online repositories and e-libraries. So what are OERs? OERs were first introduced at a conference hosted by UNESCO in 2000, promoted in the context of providing free access to educational resources on a global scale. According to UNESCO, OERs are any type of educational materials that are in the public domain or introduced with an open license. The nature of these open materials means that anyone can legally and freely copy, use, adapt, and reshare them. OERs range from textbooks to curricula, syllabi, lecture notes, assignments, tests, projects, audio, video, and animation. Now, to distinguish between OERs and other resources, let me share the 5 R permissions that characterize an open educational resource. First is the retain, the right to make, own, and control copies of the content. Second is reuse, the right to use the content in a wide range of ways, example in a class, in a study group, on a website, in a video. Third is revise, the right to adapt, adjust, modify, or alter the content itself. For example, translate the content into another language. Fourth is remix, the right to combine the original or revised content with other open content to create something new. Example, incorporate the content into a mashup. Fifth is redistribute, the right to share copies of the original content, your revisions, or your remixes with others. For example, you want to give a copy of the content to a friend. Now that we have addressed the first learning outcome of this video, let us now move on to the next. Have you ever been in a situation where you are just overwhelmed with so much resources and yet you are quite unsure if you can actually use those resources in your course requirements? Let me share some important competencies that will help you search the right resources for your own context. First is the importance of being able to identify the major OER repositories. There are a number of major sources of OERs. Among them are OER Commons. OER Commons is a digital library and collaboration platform that offers a wide range of openly licensed educational resources for teachers, accreditors, administrators, students, and self-learners covering various subjects and grade levels. Users can search for resources based on subject, grade level, standards, alignment, and other criteria, as well as contribute their own resources to the community. We also have the Digital Commons Network, the largest repository of scholarly work from higher education institutions, over 2 million works from over 400 institutions. We also have the HathiTrust Digital Library. HathiTrust is a partnership of academic and research institutions offering a collection of millions of titles digitized from libraries around the world. There are also a number of public digital libraries that allow users access to their digital collections. There are also a number of major universities around the world that have their digital collections. These OER repositories usually host the scholarly outputs of their institutions. However, since they are hosted through different softwares, they do not have a unified search. There are also a number of organizations and universities that develop their own search tools to help users discover and access OERs from various resources. An example of this is the Mason OER Meta Finder, which was developed by the George Mason University Libraries. It allows users to simultaneously search across multiple OER repositories, digital libraries, and other content platforms to discover openly licensed educational materials. Another example is the OASIS, or Openly Available Sources Integrated Search, developed by SUNY State University of New York, Geneseus Milne Library. In the Philippines, we have the TVUP, the UP Open Universities Networks, and of course, the PhilChed Connect. Second competency is to be able to evaluate and select appropriate OERs. When evaluating OERs, it is important to be familiar with these common criteria that are found in the literature. Assess the quality in terms of content, technical accuracy, clarity, and comprehensibility. Look for resources that are well-researched, peer-reviewed, or recommended by trusted institutions or educators. Second is relevance. Ensure that the content is relevant to the subject matter, grade level, and learning goals of the course or educational activity. Accessibility. Resources are organized in ways that make them easy to access and locate, and in terms of compatibility with screen readers, alternative formats for learners with disabilities, and adherence to accessibility standards. Then we also have currency. Resources must be up-to-date. Richness and diversity. Resources reflect a variety of perspectives and meet the needs of a diverse learner population. Inclusivity. Resources demonstrate social, cultural, and gender inclusivity. Purposeful use of media. Appropriate media is used. Usability of the resource is enhanced by the media. Then we also have licensing. You need to verify the licensing terms of the OER to ensure compliance with copyright laws and compatibility with the desired use. For example, Creative Commons licenses that allow for reuse, remixing, and redistribution. Then we have alignment. You have to determine whether the OER aligns with relevant academic standards, learning objectives, and curriculum guidelines. Interactivity. Consider the level of interactivity and engagement offered by the OER, such as multimedia elements, interactive simulation, quizzes, or activities that enhance learning outcomes. Usability. Evaluate the usability and user interface of the OER, including ease of navigation, searchability, and organization of content. I've mentioned this, but let me just highlight about currency. We have to assess the currency and relevance of the content, particularly in the rapidly evolving fields where up-to-date information is critical. We also need to consider the reviews and ratings. Consider reviews, ratings, or feedback from other educators or users who have used the OER in their teaching or learning experiences. And of course, adaptability. You have to assess the adaptability and flexibility of the OER for customization or integration into different instructional contexts and learning environments. And of course, there's the cost effectiveness. Consider the overall cost savings and affordability of using OER compared to traditional commercial resources, textbooks, or proprietary materials. The next competency is to be able to use OERs. When using OERs, you must be able to distinguish between the different types of Creative Commons licenses. You have to respect the terms of Creative Commons licenses, use a resource license under the Creative Commons licensing system, should be able to demonstrate understanding as applied to the Creative Commons licensing system. And to know more about this, you can visit the Creative Commons website. Now, let us move on to the last learning outcome for this video, which focuses on creating, adapting, and sharing OERs. As a user of OERs, you have the option to create from scratch an OER, or you can adapt an existing one. Before creating an OER, it is important to apply the instructional design principles and properly plan your OER. You can ask this question first before deciding. Is there an existing OER materials that I can work with? Can I revise or remix these materials? In terms of alignment, are they appropriate to my context? Do they follow the principles of diversity and inclusivity? If there are existing resources that I can work on, what kind of adaptation of an OER can I do? Should it be translation? Does it something to do with sound? Or probably graphics and illustration? Or maybe improving the accessibility? Or maybe it is contextualization? In terms of cost, is it more cost-effective to create from scratch or adapt? Once you have decided, you have to bear in mind the following. Design OERs with future users and adapters in mind, which includes a plan for sustainability to ensure a process for preserving content for long-term access and use. Design and implement strategies to measure and assess the impact of the project. You have to design OERs that are universally designed for learning. You have to design OERs that are culturally responsive and/or culturally sustaining. You have to always verify the currency, credibility, and accuracy of discipline-specific content. And then it's now time to publish and share the OERs. When publishing OERs, you have to ensure that, first, the materials underwent quality assurance and have been properly vetted for publishing, making sure that it is licensed properly and follows appropriate attributions. Second, you have to evaluate and ensure that you use a variety of platforms and repositories to publish OERs. You have to ensure that you include the appropriate metadata when publishing OER to make it more findable and to support discoverability. Once published, it is important to promote your OERs through various ways such as institutional promotion and marketing, presenting in conferences, and sharing in professional networks. And lastly, you have to ensure that you provide means to update OERs as well as means of backup and restoration. Thank you for watching this video and learning with me. I hope that you have learned the various concepts and competencies I shared with you to help you in working with OERs as accreditors, administrators, teachers, or students. Keep on learning and keep on sharing. Good day!